Hello, hello. I am wearing a Perfumer's robe today, which, like all of the armor sets that I can think of off the top of my head that actually have fur raiments on them, some sort of cape, it looks kind of ratty. A little bit ratty. It looks not pleasant to touch, and even our Blessed Ranny has sort of the same thing going on, if you remember her. We haven't met her in quite some time, but she also had sort of a ratty-looking pelt. Didn't look too amazing, even though she looks, of course, beautiful. First thing I wanted to do, though, I had to go into multiplayer and use 3 of these horrible things. And I think in a couple of them I just, threw myself off a cliff or something. One of them I, briefly mucked about. Got no victories, of course, got no victories. Made no attempt to get any victories. Because I don't know if you know anything. One of the weird things about me is that I feel really bad if I inconvenience anybody doing anything. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like doing invasions whatsoever. Unless, of course, I am entertaining the person that I'm going in to do something with. So if I go in with some sort of bizarre plan to lead rainbow stone trails to a wedge of cheese or something, or do a sexy strip pose or something, whatever it is, whatever my crazy nonsensical plan happens to be, then I'll do that. But as far as just showing up and just trying to outgame someone in PvP, I have no interest in that whatsoever. But I started talking to this NPC, pale-faced bitch heart, whatever his name is, and he started saying something different, so I alt F4'd out of the game. So I'm not sure if he's actually going to complete what he was saying or not.
Oh, Lambkin.
Yes, okay.
So pleased you're here. I'm glad that you're enjoying my gift. I knew it from the very start. You have a taste for noble blood.
I killed no one.
I wish to anoint you a proper inductee. A knight to serve Luminary Moog, the Lord of Blood, and establish a new dynasty.
Who?
Luminary Moog has strength, vision, and of course, love.
Yeah, he sounds like it.
So, what do you say, my lambkin?
Also, considering that you're referring to me as Lambkin, well, this is the only way of getting that other item, so I guess I have to. And surely this would not lock me into any sort of weird story route that I'm not aware of. That seems like something FromSoft would do, but FromSoft of a few years ago. Elden Ring has not been that bad about it.
Yes. Who would have it?
What do you do to lambs? Do you kiss them on the forehead and feed them, and nothing else?
Faces?
No, you fucking murder them.
Lord of Blood's favor. Lord of Blood.
It's pure white, though. I guess this is like the lamb. You must stain it in blood. Because murder will surely save us. That sounds like a great ending to have.
For your final trial, soak the
Ah,
cloth
yes.
with a maiden's blood. Normally this ritual
What
would
what
involve
kind of blood?
killing one's own maiden and recanting the wisdom of the 2 fingers. But since you are maidenless,
Shut
the
up.
blood of anyone's maiden will do.
Not sure if that's... well, whatever. I guess it makes some degree of sense.
The cloth is your final trial. Soak it with
He's
the
so happy
blood
about
of
it.
a maiden. The blood of anyone's maiden will do. You are maidenless, after all.
Okay. That is now complete. Let me check this, actually. Okay. I have run around and I've collected quite a few things. I did a couple more points of grace. Let's see if I can remember them all. Because in addition, I've also farmed... oh, I farmed so many things. But first off, I will mention, of course, in the last part, I got this message probably like 20 times. She throws up if you walk away. She throws up! Okay. I can't do anything about it now because of how these games work, but, you know. If you walk away from Hyetta, she does apparently indeed make vomiting noises. I don't know if she does it out of sight. I don't know how long it goes on. Some people exaggerated and said that it went on for like a minute, which I kind of doubt, but maybe next playthrough we'll get to hear lovely Hyetta just vomiting up a big pile of eyeball eggs. Just like a caviar pile of eyeballs. Next time. So, yes, I'm aware. Nothing I can do about it, though. Okay. The next thing that I want to do, and I'll talk about other things in the meantime, is I never actually interacted with the bloodstain that was down there. I wonder what the easiest way of doing this would be. The easiest way would be to start from here, actually. If I can make the jumps. Also, I need to talk about several things that I picked up. The first thing I'll talk about is probably the crystal sword, just because I noticed that it was there, and it's like, oh, I never actually said anything about it. A crystal sword. Sword fashioned from pure crystal, a deed impossible for a human. Enwreathed with powerful magic, its attack scales with intelligence, of course, since, like, anything that is even mildly interesting as a weapon design has to scale with intelligence, of course. The inscrutable crystallians have but one clear purpose: to safeguard their crystals unto the end. One theory posits that they yearn for the return of their creator, who will carve for them new brethren. So the crystallians that it's talking about, the boss that... No. The boss that I fought up here in Ryalkaria Crystal Tunnels, the one that I got the ball bearings from, was a Crystallian, which I've murdered many, many times in co-op since then. Just obliterating those young boys. That's a bad soundbite to have. This Crystallian, what the hell they are, I don't know, but apparently they, even though they are made of crystal, they're designed to protect their crystal, whatever that means. Makes no sense to me. Are they designed to protect themselves? Things here, yes. So, whatever crystal it is, I don't know. Write in if you know what crystal it is. I don't fucking know. God damn it, knew it'd do that. Well, let's try again. Nothing quite so nice as a shitty jump. I guess I'll have to, like, actually physically jump and... Actually, even the jumping attack of my weapon might influence it some. I like the interior of this. I also like how it furls out. It doesn't look nice when you're walking around, and for once it doesn't clip with the shield too badly. Also, it has a nice red interior, which shows up really nicely in the sunlight. So I don't mind it too much. God damn it, am I actually... Oh, I hate doing stuff like this. Also, I need to talk about the Great Mace. I had said that I would pick it up later. But in the process of doing so much co-op, I was like, I want a big strike weapon. And I was going through and looking at all my giant strike weapons that I have. Which one I didn't want to use a one-handed hammer, because one-handed hammers are kind of next to worthless most of the time. I get really tired of the short range of anything that is one-handed in these games, because so many of the enemies have just gotten so big and they cover so much distance and they jump around so much that you just can't do anything with them. One of those oversights of how the games have evolved over time. But yeah, I was looking at these as like large club. No, I really don't want to use that. Curved Great Club scales really, really well for my particular build, just because it, whenever you upgrade it to have faith scaling, it also still scales at least a little bit with strength and dex, whereas the other ones just scale with strength. So you actually end up losing out on quite a bit of damage that way. And, guys, pickaxe, I actually did upgrade a pickaxe because it is kind of fun. It makes a lot of pleasant noises, really like swinging it around. But unfortunately it's a piercing weapon, so I couldn't really make any use out of it. And these two, the Battle Hammer and the Brick Hammer, are just really, really short range. They have basically the same exact problems as a one-handed weapon, so I always avoid anything like this. So I was like, well, there's really nothing for me to do. Either I have to upgrade this giant dumbass stick that I think looks stupid. You know what? Dark Souls 3's Great Hammer, the Great Mace in that game, looked wonderful. I really liked this one. Or that one. This one, however, is just the Vort Hammer without the frost on it. Which already I hated the way that the Vort Hammer looked. Especially with the frost, because it just clouds your screen all the time as you're running. You can't see what the hell's going on. I've never liked the way that this thing looks. But either way, it looks mildly okay. Huge bludgeon with a sharp protrusions, large version of its smaller cousins, maintains all the advantages of its smaller bludgeons, boasting few deficiencies while being very capable of breaking enemy guards and stances. A shrewd choice for simple slugging matches. Once again, I don't think Miyazaki quite understands strike weapons. He seems to think that they're just, you just hold it, you're just like, ooh, ooh, and you just run at something and just bludgeon it, and then that's it. Like there's no technique to it. Well, whatever, Miyazaki, whatever. Not everything can be a katana. Now, how the hell am I supposed to get over here? Maybe if I jump lightly? Okay, fuck it. Let's just go here and just do it the long way. How did I land there? I must have, like, had a more specific jumping attack that caused me to plunge in just the right way last time. Because that's how I originally got over there. Okay, this time we gotta do it the old-fashioned way, the old shitty way. Let's just try to ignore the bats. Oh man, you can see how desperate he was to land that hit. Just using that bitch scream as fast as he possibly could. Ah yes, the rats, of course. There's always rats. That's the reason why I wanted to go the other way. So I wouldn't have to deal with the fucking rats. Of course, now I have a shield. Which apparently doesn't work sometimes. Go away. No one likes you. No one likes you either. You're big and ugly. Me, circa 2016. The heaviest I ever got. Bitch! You don't get free damage just by fucking turning around. Cheating little bastard. But the heaviest I ever was like a 210 to... like, it's a little bit higher than 210, I think. But that happened as a result of me... Oh, it was the last job that I ever had before I became self-employed. And I was doing nothing but driving all day. Just all day long, just doing nothing but driving. Is this bloodstain? Here it is, okay. I'm assuming this is what it is. Did nothing but drive all day long, sit in a chair all day long, had almost no exercise, and during lunch breaks there was nothing to eat besides driving to a fast food place, or the thing I usually did, which is go to this place that sold loaded potatoes. Because I love loaded potatoes. Especially with like a chicken or like steak. Like covered in cheese, whipped cream and stuff. Yeah, it's not good for you. Anyways, bloodstain. This is supposed to be Rogier's bloodstain, I think. Oh. So yeah, whenever he was here, it looks like something grabbed him and then lifted him up in the air. I wonder how it got a hold of him. You know what that actually looks like? That actually looks like in Dead by Daylight, whenever you die, whenever the in-game collapse runs out, and that big spike goes through your body. That's exactly what that looks like. Not that I'm suggesting that, that's just what it looks like. Yeah, it kind of looks like something grabbed him. I'm almost tempted to say something went inside of his mouth, but I don't think so. No, I think he's just screaming in lay agony. Okay. Well, interesting all the same. Also, someone said that maybe the face is upside down. I don't really see that, but... it would be funny. Like, this is like the mouth, and I guess those would have to be the eyes. That makes absolutely no sense to me, visually. I mean, very clearly, to me, this is supposed to be the nose. I mean, what else would it be? Other than, everyone's forehead trunk that everyone has. So yeah, I think that's the right way. Yep. Don't ask me what the third eye is supposed to be, though. The old head nipple. Don't quite know. But either way, yeah, it looks like Rogier, what happened to him is that he came down here for some specific reason. Although he was standing here. Then something grabbed him and then lifted him up. I'm not sure what it was, though. Because you would think that if it was supposed to be here, it would have been... like, this would be the alignment. Like, he would be standing here, then all these little tentacles would have whipped around and grabbed him that way. By the way, the thing that I actually wanted to mention was that the tentacle things that are erupting from the face do appear to be spiny or thorny, in the same way that Stormveil itself is also covered up in thorns. And there was an item description of some sort ages ago that seemed to suggest the same thing. Now, you guys will have to go back. I can't remember this, but this is supposedly the... like the body or the spirit or something of some guy that died. It may have been Godwin. I don't quite remember. But anyways, yeah, yep. Bloodstain. I made sure to remember it this time. Ugh. Okay. Next up, need to go back to the village of the Albinaurics. Because I never actually summoned her and did that boss fight here. So that's something I would like to do now. Also, if you can't tell, I had to kill this little turdling up here a whole lot. I killed him many, many times. Don't you fucking dare follow me. Don't you dare freeze. Okay. Motherfucker! Little fucking... Motherfucker. Getting annoyed. Oh. I guess this is a shortcut. Ruart. Yeah, I never even contemplated the idea of just hopping off the bridge and going this way. But I was going to get angry at that caster. And there are dogs. I have helped other people do this little area. I don't know what's past it, though. There may be nothing past it whatsoever. Besides the skull. Let's see. No, it's just an elevated area. Has the same shitty little love shacks as everywhere else. May as well get rid of this gentleman. Good, it killed it. All right. Of course, dogs. Dogs are always such special little princesses. They get every advantage. Even when guard counter, they have that one last bit of damage. I fucking hate dogs. Little privileged little snots. Okay, let's try to get over to the summon sign without triggering our boy. Don't. Okay, good. Now, where exactly is her summon sign? Stop freezing video games. Stop loading shaders incorrectly. FromSoft, fix your fucking video game. I know it's Japan, so you don't think that PCs exist, but they do, and they require shader technology of some sort to be able to behave themselves. Please actually fix your video game instead of just, oh, whatever. Our people are happy, so fuck everyone else. Anyways. Nebula, let's go ahead and summon her. I don't think this has anything to do with anything. I think in all the times I've been summoned here, I've only seen someone summon her like once. But here she is. It's a girl. There may also be a dog somewhere around over this direction. I don't know. Either way, something I don't want to have to deal with. Let's see. Of course he dodges. And of course Sniffly completely whiffs. Love this guy. Of course he's an omen killer, so he kills omens, which we still really don't have any information on. Bitch, get the fuck off me! Nothing worse than a big spammy enemy. Definitely, you completely ruined my chance to do a riposte. That's rude. Oh, she actually survived. Wow, she gets out fast. Alright, bye. Wow. Crucible, not Talisman. Looks kind of gross. Let's see what that is. I actually had no clue. Oh yeah, I forgot I still have this on. Raises damage and impact of headshots. That almost never comes up. There's a... You remember at the very beginning of this playthrough, when I went in here and I noticed there was one thing, like one ring slot, effectively. They're talismans now, but one ring slot. And I was like, oh good, finally, they finally learned their lesson about this. Of course, no, eventually you get 4. But my problem with that is that I always wanted it to be like 1, 2, or probably 2. 2 slots that identify what your character is. Like something very, very, very particular. But of course you see what's... Hold on. Let me go ahead and do that. You see what's in here now. And this is very similar across most people. Even if you're in-game, the impression I've gotten is that people tend to find one weapon that does, like, I don't know, like rot damage or something. And then they'll just put together a bunch of talismans that just do nothing but just raise the damage that does. So that they can one-shot kill anyone that they come across. So these are always used specifically for pretty much nothing except for just raising something vital to your character. And that's been the same in every single one of the games. I can't remember demons clearly enough for an example, but Dark Souls 1, of course, everyone wore the same thing. It was just Havels and Fap most of the time. Ever so often, you would see people running Havels, but then using that one slot as a flex slot, especially if they were like a sorcerer or something. But that's pretty much it. And if they were a sorcerer, of course they were going to run something that raised their damage. Same thing with Dark Souls 2, just find things that raise things that are essential to your build, which would be more damage, more numbers. So, this slot that should be for like some sort of creative purpose, instead they always consistently use it exclusively for, like they do have things like that. That's the reason why I thought of it right now. Because this Crucible, not Talisman, what does it do? It raises headshot damage? When the hell is that ever going to come up? But this seems like one of those talismans that they make with the intention of it being a filler item, like a filler ring, where they don't really expect anyone to ever use it, but it's there. So if you can find some incredibly specific, particular way of using it, then good for you. But I really wish they would get away from that. Because they always include tons of talismans for you to pick up, but how many of them do you actually use? How many of them do you actually take seriously? And a lot of them just come, like this one, for example, the Roar Medallion, it just comes down to, are you using a Roar build? Okay, then you use this thing. You don't get a choice. There's no choice involved. It's just, are you using, like, Roars, then use Roar Medallion? Are you using, I don't know, like a riposte build or something? Then use something like this. If you're just planning on doing nothing except for just doing jump attacks, then equip this. Like, it's so if-then. There's no combination of factors. There's nothing to make this more interesting. It's just, are you going to do X? Then equip X. Well, what about Y? No. only X. X is designed very specifically for this one thing that you do. Can I do two things? No. You get the idea. A talisman fashioned from a bony knot that embodies the aspects of various creatures, said to have grown on the human body long ago. Ugh, gross. It's just like a bunch of, like, blackheads. The blackhead talisman. Reduces damage and impact of headshots taken. Hold on. Oh. It's not even... I thought it was like reduces your damage and also increases the impact of headshots. No, it's just... It's for you not taking headshots. Wow, so it's that much more useless. Like, yeah, I mean, they happen sometimes, but... Wow. A vestige of the crucible primordial life, of course. More of that shit. Born partially of devolution, not really a thing. It was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity as civilization has advanced. Okay, let me read that again, because what the fuck are they trying to say? It is a vestige of the crucible primordial life, so it came from whatever the fucking big bang of nonsense is in this particular game's lore. It was born partially of devolution, so human walk around but then become monkey. And it was born partially of that, not entirely of it, just partially, to make it that much more confusing. And as a result, it was considered a signifier of the divine. Well, of course. Like you turn from a person into a monkey or something. Obviously God has to be involved. In ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity. Okay. Oh, I really wish I had more. I'm at the stage of the lore where I don't have one or two things that are essential to piecing everything together. It's like trying to assemble a puzzle piece and you have everything laid out in front of you, but you don't know where the corners are yet. So there's nowhere for you to start. It's very frustrating. Now, did this come from the Albinaurics? If that was the case, then it would have meant that they themselves are de-evolving in some bizarre way. But we also found this on a guy called Omen Slayer. So it's something that walks around killing omens, and if I remember correctly, an omen is like one of those stupid ogres, the big fat ogres that do cartwheels and bullshit. And also anything that has like horns and shit growing out of its body. Which may include the like weird animal life that we encounter ever so often that have horns growing out of their bodies where they don't need to have horns. And it could also apply to like Margit and maybe Godric, since we've seen those and they also have weird things growing out of their body. Whether they are omens or not, I don't know, because the game won't tell me these things yet. I really wish it would go ahead and do that. Anyways. So I guess, does it really always have to be a comically huge pile of corpses? Like, it's okay to just have like one or two bodies. It doesn't always have to be laughably oversized. It's almost comical. Yep, I knew it. Fucking knew it. Little cunt. Think I'm gonna be fucking fooled by you? Just sitting there waiting behind. I'm gonna wait for someone to go exploring and then bite them for some free damage. Hope he's in a boss fight when it happens. I'm a little cutie pie. I'm such a delight. What a treasure. Okay, yeah, they were apparently burning the bodies back here. So not much to say about this, although it is a little bit weird. There are also coffins clearly everywhere. I wonder who was burning the bodies. if it was the people that came here and did this, which I strongly suspect to be Ofnir, is that what his name is? The all... Even though he's known as the all-knowing, his theme is very clearly ears, so I'm still suspecting it's him. I don't think that they would go through the trouble, so I'm assuming that the burn pile here was started by the village themselves, and they're getting rid of their corpses that way. And maybe the reason why they have so many coffins here is because this is where they would, in the past, actually take their dead, maybe? Like this was their sort of cemetery, which doesn't make any sense, really, because why would you have a cemetery that only has 5 coffins in it? Maybe 6. Like, what happens when someone else dies? Do you just keep piling them on? Have only 6 people ever died here? I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Just, this is the area where dead people go, I guess. Oh, there's more coffins. Sorry. There's more coffins down here. This changes everything. It changes nothing. Okay, well, that's that. Dead dogs. Were the dogs complicit? Probably so. They are dogs in a FromSoft game, so obviously they're always in the wrong. God, I love killing dogs and them never getting any damage, and especially when they're not able to fight back. It feels really good to watch, because they're so desperate to deal damage. Like, they're dodging and weaving all over the place and doing fucking backflips and taking helicopter rides into the air so that they can parachute down for the slim chance of biting your face. Because that's their life. That's all they have. It's everything to them. Let's look at there's some stuff I picked up. Let's see. Great Mace, already did that. Oh yeah, I also picked up a Chainlink flail, which thankfully has lower requirements than the obscenely high dex requirements of this stupid Knight Rider flail. The requirements on this are way too high. I went in and I started looking at all the requirements of other weapons of the game. Almost nothing requires your dex to be this high. There's like 1 or 2 other weapons that are this bad. Well, I say one or two, but it's probably more like a dozen or so. But in context of there being 308 weapons in the game, then yeah. It's kind of absurd that this random flail, of all things, requires your dex to be so high. But anyways, the Chainlink flail scaling, it turns out, is probably just as good, maybe even better, depending on circumstances, although it is heavier. So I guess that's supposed to be the trade-off, I don't know. One day I will be able to use this, so maybe we'll see then. I'm not a big fan of flails all the same, for obvious reasons. I used this to try to kill those giants when I was farming runes to buy stuff from merchants, and its short range was driving me insane. Especially with the terrible aiming mechanics in this particular game, because I would lock on to the giants or even not lock on, and swing, and the giant would just move a little bit, and he would just miss entirely, because, you know, modern FromSoft games and short weapons do not work. They just don't work. So, it's really only useful if you're clearing out cave denizens, and that's just about it. Anyways, a spiked iron tube attached to a chain, wielded by mad pumpkin heads. Especially large for flail, wielding it requires more strength than it does dexterity, so pretty much nothing to go on here. I got that by riding like up here, and there's like a little bitty fort sort of area right here, and there's a pumpkin head that's up the road. So I was like running up here. This is a pickup that I haven't gotten yet. And jumping up over this cliff, and then running up and killing this guy. Although sometimes there is one of those insufferable noble summoner or sorcerers who sometimes without even seeing you because he scripted the cheat will just start pelting the cliff next to you with magic bolts. Just trying his best to be a nuisance, so you have to go kill him too or just leave the area. Anyways, yeah, it thankfully only took a few kills in that case. I also picked up some land squirt ashes, which I think were like right here. They're kind of just middle of nowhere. There's nothing much to say about it. Maybe over here. There's really nothing to say about it other than it was a guy in a chair holding them, and guess what? He was surrounded by land squirts. What is the lore of that? I don't know. But you summon 3 land squirts. Ooh, deadly. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell. The spirit of a fucking land squirt. Maybe it also willingly gave up its life. Maybe it also lost a precious wolf and it was like, no, no more. I will become a spirit for the sake of this man in chair. Again, the significance of what men in chairs are, I don't know. The game has not said anything about it yet. Summoning consumes health points rather than FP. You know, honestly, I don't see why they do this. I don't mind it exactly, but once you use up your summon, you're never allowed to use them ever again. Maybe you're just like, wow, I have no FP left. I've got to use something, and that is the circumstance. I don't really get it. Maybe it's lore related. Like, since they're not really magical based, they're more the spirits of the planet. I don't know. These spirits appear some distance from the summoner. Alright. The firm fleshy tubes of the creature's growths remain rooted to the spot, spraying poisonous liquid over their surroundings. Alright, so they emit a constant AoE poison effect. And poison in this game is next to worthless, so that is just radical. That is truly amazing. Okay, let's see, what do I want to do? It's probably not nighttime yet, but I want to go over here to the Church of Vows. Check that. I also picked up the... No, it's still daylight. Well, no, it's almost... I also picked up the... Sword Dance Ash. So I went from here, and you go down a path, and it's just there. It's just a scarab. There's a bunch of bats down here. That's pretty much it. There's nothing really lore related to regret not showing off once again. But that is another one of these that has almost nothing to do with it. I think it's Sword Dance. There it is. Sword Dance quickly close in to perform a series of spinning upward slashes, followed up with an additional input to finish a downward slash. So another pretty much completely worthless Sash 4. There's quite a few of these. I have noticed in doing the small amount of like accidental like hunter PvP, which I remember to turn it off for this part, I have noticed that almost all PvP seems to completely revolve around magic and using like very specific Ashes of War. And almost nothing else. Like, sure, ever so often someone... Well, other than katanas, of course. Like, since katanas are long, they do bleed damage, they're very, very fast, and they usually have running pokes. Since, you know, FromSoft. So, yeah. Not particularly amazed with the way that things have turned out, but it is what it is. Now, I wanted to point this out. I ran back here to try to get Turtle Man and buy some stuff, which I did, by the way. I bought all of his stuff. But also, this guy. I've never fought him before. Cool. Oh, what's that? Something I don't much care for. Yeah, he's doing something crazy. Wow, that has a very long reach. I don't like that. He's probably going to dodge after this next one. What the fuck? Okay, you need to calm down with that, sir. Hitting me from across the arena. He doesn't think too much of the concept of footsies, does he? Go. No, don't jump. Roll. I still do that ever so often. I pressing the stick just a little bit too much. It kind of depends a little bit on the controller, too. May as well. And this is also, I think, the same guy that shows up at the War Master Shack. Cool. Now, let's get away from that. Jesus. Yeah, I like this strategy a lot more. Cool. I don't much care for his strategy of just doing an R1 combo wherever he wants to and hitting absolutely anywhere in the arena. No, I don't use the fucking stake. Why do they even put one here? Side of Grace is just right here. I guess for people that run up here and run past the door? Anyways, okay. Hello, Turtle Man. Let's just do it again so we can actually kill him. It's one of the reasons why I like being overleveled, so I can just face fuck through these things. It doesn't really work if the boss also... What am I doing? It doesn't really work if the boss also face fucks. Or in this case, AoE fucks. I don't know how to describe it. Oh, no, Turtle's... What? Turtle? Come on, dude. Whatever. Oh my god, I hate... Can a boss just be here? And of course there's no late night, so I have to like... Maybe I have to like rest at the bonfire like 5 times in a row or some dumb shit. I think he's also here. People keep saying, no, you're doing it wrong. You gotta warp to the bonfire, then rest at it, then warp to itself, then warp away, wait a few days, warp back from, like... Can he just be here? He's never just here. Like, just sometimes he's there and sometimes he's not. Does it have to be, like, extremely late night? Which means I would just have to change the time of day and then just wait. Still not there. I think he's supposed to be in the shack. I've never actually seen him here before. No, he's just not here. What if I talk to you?
Here to learn.
Yeah, I'm here to learn all the bad arts that you don't sell anymore because I already bought them. You have no reason to be here. Yeah, until we meet again. Alright, wait at the bonfire. For all the people... No, you're doing it... No, okay. I'm doing it wrong? Like, can you believe how absurd that was? Okay, surely he's going to be here somewhere. Okay, there we go. Wow, he has much less health here. Roll! I have noticed that sometimes... Some people have agreed with me that it's weird that sometimes the game just does not respond to inputs. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but it feels like it is. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of this guy. It's kind of... I don't know, he's not really unfair, it's just... He's very boring. Because it feels like you just have to do nothing except for this. Like, what are you supposed to do otherwise? Just, like, get fucked in close range? Look at that. Of course, he ignores mine. Yeah, I don't like this guy. This is not fair. Well, it's fair in the sense that you can just, obviously, just out-level the guy. Yeah, you suck. You're a bad boss. That's not fun. Bone Peddler's Ball Bearing. Fantastic, okay. Bone Peddler, Ball Bearing. What are we done here? Yep. Ball Bearing got an unfortunate Bone Peddler who was slain by the Ball Bearing Hunter. Oh, so he doesn't look for them, he just... Well, he's not really a... I guess, yeah, he is a ball-bearing hunter. I just assumed that he would be trying to find them. Not necessarily just running around murdering people. Offer to the 20 House Roundtable gang sometimes. Thin animal bones. Oh, I can just buy the damn things now. Thank God. That's how you get them? I hope they cost next to nothing. This game sort of has the Twilight... Boy, this is a pull. This has sort of the Twilight Princess problem. Because in Twilight Princess, in all the Zelda games, the mainline games, they were like, what do we do with rupees? Once you barely need them for anything. We don't want to make people have to go buy bombs and shit, so what do we do? And eventually they came up with the idea of, like, near the end of development, they decided, let's get rid of the magic meter. They had a magic meter at one point. Let's instead make the final armor that did rely on magic, the magic armor, let's make it use rupees. And just put rupees everywhere. So you'll play Twilight Princess and there's just monstrous amounts of rupees everywhere. But you can't use them for anything. They're almost completely worthless. Until you get that armor. And unfortunately the armor doesn't work like you get hit and then it reduces the amount of rupees that you have. No, you just put it on and it just uses them. Like, even just standing there doing nothing. Awful armor. No one actually uses it. It's just a piece of shit. But anyways, yeah. Elden Ring sort of has that same kind of deal where they're like, well, we want to make sure that people always have a use for runes. So let's make everything, like, vital in some way and also just flood the game with, like, the things that you require. Let's flood the game with the necessity to have the items in the first place. And eventually flood the game with runes. But not until way later. So, the early game economy kind of just is awful, unfortunately. But maybe later on it'll get better. Now let's go back here and try to kill him here too. Yeah, this is not a good boss. There's not much to him either. If you're close, he just face fucks you with infinite poise. And if you're far away, he just does that same move over and over again. Yeah, here we go. Guess we'll just start up here. Oh, good. He appeared early. Cool. Cool. Was hoping that would not happen. I was using that move a lot to farm nobles earlier on. No, we're not trapping me on the side of the fucking... Here. Get over here. What the hell are you doing over there? God damn that reach. Kind of obscene. And he changes up. Like, if you get too close after he starts doing it, he'll just pull it back in and be like, no, back to my other shitty thing I do. Yeah, this sucks. Like, I'm sure there's probably... Wow, 84 damage. Radical. Now, I know I'm afraid of, like, getting too far away, or else he'll probably despawn. Rad. Well, at least he did a new move. Bastard. Elden Ring, will you please respawn my lock on? Cool. That's another thing I don't really care for. They included this new mechanic with the shield, where you can counter. Microphone, will you stay upright and just stay there? They include this new mechanic with the shield where you can do those counters. Enemies just ignore it. Anything important. It's mainly for, like, killing rats and dogs. And that's pretty much it. So almost a completely meaningless system when it comes to these giant enemies. No. Oh, great. Now I have to waste time again resetting everything. Yeah, I feel like this is the beginning of me not liking the combat in Elden Ring. Because we're kind of getting towards the midpoint, and I feel like we're getting to the point where we're not really seeing as many, like, new enemies that are cool. And not cool as in, like, cool, but, you know, cool as in, be cool, dude. So, look out here. You see these nobles right there? That group and that group way down there. I killed those a whole lot. That's the reason why I met Mr. Man up here. Actually, let me... Is he still over there? No, he's not. Okay. I should have switched to an actual weapon instead of trying to use this ridiculous pike. But what should it be? What should it be? Let's just go with the stupid wings, because I don't feel like changing my Ash back to anything. This will probably face fuck him anyways. Doesn't really do as much damage as I wanted. That is not a land. You cheap bitch. You didn't hit fucking shit. Completely whiffed air. Oh, just don't do that jumping R2. For some reason, I just totally ignored that. So I just jumped like a buffoon. I was hoping I could get in some poise damage. Alright. Yeah, I don't much care for fighting him this way either. I think this guy kind of just sucks. He looks stupid too.
I wear barbed wire because I'm so fucking epic.
He has a silly mask too. Don't worry, I'll only do this 500 more times. Do I want to change it? Nah, I'll just lightning spear him to death. This sucks. I don't like this at all. Right, gotta change time of day again, because whenever you die, you have to wake up in the morning, like a good boy. Ready for school. Okay. In the meantime, while I'm doing this stupid garbage... Yes, that's what it was. I'll talk first about the stupid Perfumer set. Like I said, I had to kill that guy a whole bunch. There's actually... You can actually alter this, strangely. Yeah, you can wear it without the cape. Whoops. Yeah. Kind of makes you look like a little dork, though. It's not too bad looking. I'm sure if you're like a giant hulking monster, it probably looks better. Yeah. Just having the nice, dirty, nasty cape looks a lot better, though. Okay. Robe worn by depraved perfumers. The embroidery on the apron is itself a curse upon the Erd Tree. Ooh, take that, Erd Tree. You think the Erd Tree looks at that stupid robe or the apron? Like, ooh, hope he doesn't cook up anything naughty for me. Ooh. These heresy-inclined perfumers imbibe their own spices to alter body and mind. Their slow descent into self-destruction is what earned them their name. So they're just drug addicts? There's so many minor factions in this game that it is not inclined to explain them at all. They just kind of exist. Again, maybe I'll get to explanation later. I'm getting kind of infuriated having to deal with that, but it is what it is. But yeah, I got all their sets. Their headset probably doesn't have anything different on it, though. Headscarf worn, yeah, same thing. Okay. So that's that. They also, in the process, I wanted to mention this. In the process, I'll just look at it through the inventory. This is ridiculous. In the process of doing all that, they dropped a number of items. So in the process of killing these guys, they drop budding cave moss, Miranda powder, and Atlas blooms. So this is Atlas bloom, found in the Atlas Plateau, obviously. A golden tinged flower from a succulent plant that blooms on the Atlas Plateau. I think succulents are like cacti and things like that. Material used for crafting items, said to be a... Why are they spelling it like that? Not funeral flower, but funereal flower. In an era long past, before the Erd Tree grew. Okay. Now, that's got to be another word for something. That can't be funeral. Let me look that up. Let's learn briefly. Funereal. Having the mournful, somber character appropriate to a funeral. Cool. Well, we learned nothing. Cool. Okay. Where are the other things? Miranda powder. Pollen from a man-eating Miranda flower. We've fought plenty of these annoying little things. Throughout history, perfumers have prized this extremely fragrant form, Miranda pollen, not yet scattered into the air. So they use it for perfume, apparently. So nothing much to go on there. But in cave moss, faintly luminescent moss that grows in dark caves speckled with tiny yellow flowers, material used for crafting items used primarily for perfume. So nothing else to go on there. It does show, though, like they're up in the Atlas Plateau, they're going down into caves, and they're also wandering around in the open land trying to kill these stupid plants, so they're really going out of their way to... Turtle is still here. They're really going out of their way to... Game, can you not? Okay. They're really going out of their way to try to gather as many things as they can for their precious, precious drugs. God, I didn't think I would be this annoyed. This particular... recording this part. Okay, now he's gone. Just a lot of annoying things are happening. This blocks some damage, and it raises my faith, supposedly. Doesn't do such a great job of it, though.
I'm so menacing.
367 and 105. Really? I've seen people use that in Okay, let's just leave. I've seen people use that in PvP, and it does the same thing. I was watching some guy very specifically who was doing nothing except for just doing that charged attack, and people could not avoid it. It actually, even if you miss, if you like roll to the sides, or sometimes even if you roll away, it'll just suck you back into the hitbox and do all of your health and damage. And there was no way for anyone to escape it. And the guy was actually complaining about it. Okay, let's not use Wing Scythe anymore. Because it's not really doing that much damage in the first place. It's probably weak to something in particular, but it's probably nothing fun. It's probably weak to fucking katanas. I could use something that bleeds, I guess. But then I have to change out my ashes. Again, this is another reason why I want to be overleveled, so I don't have to just repeat the same thing over and over again, and then go, oh, I beat him off screen. Being overleveled just solves a lot of these problems for me. Alright, of course I gotta pass time again. Of course. Another thing, since I mentioned it, those nobles that are wandering around, the reason why I was killing them so much is because there are a lot of aristocrats and nobles, and they drop all sorts of different things. A fairly crazy amount of things, in fact. They drop 2 different weapon types, which isn't too bad. Turtle, you are still here. You know shit's about to go down whenever Turtle somehow leaves. He's like, my legs don't work good, but then he just is like, I don't do all that shit. Then he flies away. He spins and rockets come out of his shell and he spins away. I honestly don't think I'm going to be hitting him too much with a weapon. Roll away. Okay. Roll. Roll and run! Run! God! Don't like whenever the controller just is like, oh, I'll get to it. Like, sometimes it'll just completely roll forward so it'll have something to hit. Sometimes the controller will just completely ignore you, and then other times it's like, oh, I'll queue up that move for 400 years from now. Ah, did like half my health and damage. Yeah, I guess he doesn't go away. What if I could just horsey him? No, you go away. I don't know what you think you're doing. None of that, please. Now this is much better. Here, why don't you attack where I... Here. Alright, fine. Motherfucker! Because I got stuck on that stupid fucking tombstone. This guy sucks. I really don't like this at all. But, yeah, I think a lot of people have already come across this, but... Elden Ring really likes the idea of being killed in 2 hits exactly. And people that have pumped 99 vigor have also learned this, unfortunately. Yeah, how did I get stuck on this? Like it just froze. I guess because the enemy, that skeleton, that dumbass skeleton was standing there. And because its hitbox was there, it basically froze me into a corner that I couldn't get out of. God damn this game. But yeah, Elden Ring really, really likes the idea of 2-hit kills. And it does absolutely everything in its power to try to reinforce that. Which, I've been over, I do not much care for. Up here. Charging this does a little bit more damage. That is too much range! That's way too much range to give him. I'm just gonna go ahead and get on my fucking horse. Lock onto him. Lock onto him. I don't have to deal with this for then. I have shit I need to be talking about. It can't revolve around, oh, it's so hard. You died so many times. Oh, after 20 hours of fighting Bell-Bearing Hunter, I finally defeated him. Here's the clip, guys. I'm so proud. It's for those fucking idiots. No, I want him to be dead, claim his completely worthless Bell-Bearing that I'm sure he drops that allows you to buy dung. So I can go about my day. This dumbass skeleton. Get the fuck out of here. No one gives a shit about you. You're not involved in this. Go. 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 Great, he disappeared. This is your fucking fault, little bitch. Human bone shard indeed. Don't tell me he's gonna reappear with all of his health point intact. Yeah, he's oh, he's busy. No, he still has his shitty health pool. Alright, you go ahead and... Horse? I don't know, I'll turn when I want to. I'll get around to it. Not a big deal. Why did you throw it over there? Do an attack. There you go. This is so stupid. Why are you... Horse running this. Let me do this so I can... Hurry up. Motherfucker, did you hurry up and die? Motherfucker! I'll just do an 8-hit combo. I just feel like it today. This guy is awful. Definitely a modern FromSoft anime. Where it has hitboxes that just cover the entire screen. Oh, you'll use up all your resources to defeat him. Yeah, because you have to. Yeah, isn't it great? No. In fact, that's not at all. It's kind of the opposite of what I want. I want to use up 0 resources because you just end up being so good at the fight that it doesn't matter. Which I get, oh, I've seen so you're wrong, Put. I don't care. I'm not in the mood to listen to you bitch, counter bitch about how I'm wrong, about how amazing this stupid enemy is, because I can hear it in the comments already. I don't like this enemy, I'm having a bad experience, and you're going to sit there in the comments and you're going to agree with me and be good boys and girls. Turtle, you really need to go away. I appreciate you, Muriel. You're a great lad. Would appreciate some help from you, actually. If you could lecture him on the finer points of morality within the Elden Ring universe, that would be radical. What are you still doing here? Get the hell out of here. Is it random? Did the bell hunter, oh, I've killed him enough times, I'm red. I'm not going to give him any more chances. Especially... Like, I'm actually considering just stopping the LP recording and just starting over because this is so bad. But I've already beaten that stupid boss, and I've already done this stupid dialogue with white-faced what's-his-name. Like, I've accomplished nothing. I've talked about nothing. Maybe I'll just make this like a really short... I'm not happy with the state of things. Still there. Is it not even nighttime? It's hard to tell. Let me do this. Morning. Let's just reset it. Maybe the weather has something to do with it. Maybe the precious bell-bearing hunter doesn't like it when it's foggy or when it rains. It's gotta be just perfect for me. So I can see the red of my sword when I swing it around. That's how I like it. That's what makes me feel good when I hunt my bell bearings. What exactly... Who is he giving these to? Does he give them to a merchant? Like, here's Eli's bell bearing. What he can buy with this? Rage, I suppose. Walk away. God, that's way too long. You can't tell me that it's accidental that he does this. Like, one, he has a move that does that. His sword is reaching that far because it's an enemy that is designed to do this. You're supposed to do this. This is what FromSoft wants you to do. You're supposed to go out here and then you're supposed to run into these dumb skeletons. We're here too! Can we help? Yeah, don't hit him or anything. I really don't want to waste my FP on you. Wow, that does nothing too. Why are the nighttime skeletons so strong? Go away. Now, he's really sprinting his ass off, like pathetically trying to get over here. Of course, bell-bearing hunter doesn't hurt him. Do I have to... Get off the horse! Don't care. I'm just gonna face fuck him. Stop pushing. Just fucking die. Get your fucking stamina... Or your fucking poise broken. Get out of here. God. Oh, I forgot. He's a special princess, so he needs this too. He needs to be spanked after he gets knocked down. That's the only way he can get off. I need it. I can't get to where I need to be unless you finish me. Okay, Skeleman, there we go. No, back to this epic showdown of me just throwing bolts at him over and over again. It's my fucking favorite. What are you doing? Trying to bait me into getting hit again? Fine there. God, you suck. What a terrible enemy. I bet I'll have to fight him like 2 more times. With even more health points. Meat peddler. Oh boy, I can buy meat. My favorite. Show me what horrible meats I can buy. Which one is this one? Okay. Get off the screen, please. Bill-bearing unfortunate meat peddler who was slain by the bill-bearing hunter. Offer twin mains, blah, blah, blah. Sliver of meat, lump of flesh, or turtleneck meat. Great. Alright. Yeah, I desperately needed that. Well, that was a waste of time. Ugh. What an awful enemy. Now I can get back to what I was doing. I really don't like parts like this, because I know that me being mad just makes people in the comments mad. And it's not like late... Because I'm not the kind of person that I don't appreciate enemies that require incredibly precise mechanical inputs. I don't like games like that. I avoid them at all costs, but, you know, some parts of these games are obsessed with those things, and that's probably one of those enemies. Where you're meant to, like, roll, 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 get in one hit, go back to rolling. Which is exactly how PvP works as well. Just roll, roll, roll. get spacing, roll again, hit, whiff because they rolled, roll. Like, it's that rhythm. I really would love to make... I would love to force Miyazaki to make one of these games with the jump button disabled and the roll button disabled. And I say disabled, like, in other words, just there's no rolling at all. Like, there's no dodging, there's no rolling, there's no blinking out of existence. No, you must actually, like even parrying. Get rid of parrying, too, because I don't want any of that fucking Sekiro shit, where it just becomes a stupid rhythm game. Because he does that, too. Whenever he does it where you have to actually stand your ground, he just tries to turn it into a fucking rhythm game where you're doing parries at a very specific pace. I want to see him try to make a game in which you either have to use a shield or you have to, like... I don't know. What would be the other way of doing it? Like I'm thinking of, like, tackles and very specific weapon arts that would still technically count as a dodge, so he would get too obsessed with it that way. But basically just resistance. Like, I guess timing your resistances, so it would have to work that way. You don't want it to come down to backstepping, though. Because he always fucks up backstepping. I say he, but, you know. Like, backstepping in this game, how often do you see people really backstep? Like, in some of the games, I think it might have iframes, but usually it has no iframes at all. And usually... Like, hold on, let me check my distance right here. Let's start here. Yeah, that's good enough. Backstep. Where do we get? We get right here. Right here where the crack hits my head. Okay. Now let's try rolling backwards. Like, I think that crack was, like, over there. So you actually gain way more distance by just rolling backwards than you actually do backstepping. So backstepping is really just a way to do a specific running attack. That seems to be how they're treating it. But I would love it if they would actually treat the backstep correctly. Anyways, point being, I'm rambling here because I'm irritated. I just really don't like the way that he centers the rhythm completely around one playstyle, and you can't get away from it. Like, even the mace that we were reading earlier, it's like, yeah, if you're like an idiot that just wants to bludgeon things, here you go. If you're stupid, but if you want to be a real player, you dodge and use katanas, and you swiftly maneuver in and out of exact frames of animation, oh, you'll be a god! I don't like that. Don't much care for it. Don't like that mentality. Anyways, you feel free to get angry at me in the comments and leave me passive-aggressive, angry comments about how I'm wrong about everything. I'm used to it. It feels great. Okay, but anyways, yeah, I farmed all those aristocrats. The funny thing is, it wasn't even a hard boss fight. It was just tedious. Like, I just got on my horse, left, and just pelted him with lightning spears until he went away. There was no fight. There was no actual fight. Because even if you get close to him, there's also no fight. It's just that there's no fight in his favor now. Because all he's doing is just turning it into a, no, you need to have a small katana and just roll a lot fight. And that's what it is. Like, that's the actual solution. Get a bleed weapon, a very small one that's very fast. Roll, 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 roll. Get in your one hit that you are allowed to have. Roll away. Reset, stamina recoup, and wait for him to attack again. Roll, 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 roll. Get in your one hit, stamina recoup, go back to rolling. I hate that about modern fights in these games. It feels so bad. Anyways, yeah, I farmed all the aristocrats, got a bunch of stuff from them. Aristocrat headband. I spotted this on a corpse a while back, and I was like, ooh, I can't wait to actually use that. That looks nice. And it looks okay. Valuable headband. It doesn't look as good if you're if you're bald. If you're bald, it doesn't look so great. Valuable headband featuring fine gold work. Travel attire worn by nobles in the capital. Sure is. So, if you see one of them wandering around, it's because they're traveling. Abandoning their birthplace after the shattering, These undead wanderers are the pitiful product of unending life. Okay? So these guys are immortal. You know how we keep running across things and they're like, oh, woe is me, the Elden Ring has been shattered, so now we cannot die. And then you kill them and then they die and they stay dead? Not these guys. I guess whenever you kill them and then take all their clothes and then they come back, they have a spare set. And they'll drop those too. I guess their closets are also undying. Oh well. Abandoning their birthplace after the shattering. It doesn't say where their birthplace was, but they apparently are... I'm going to assume it was the capital. That's the only thing I can assume, given the context. But why would they abandon the capital itself after the shattering? Maybe they got tired of the conflict, and they were like, we're above this because we're nobles, and then they put on their tiny headband? How does that stay up anyways? It's not elastic. Probably feels awful. And then they left. I guess that's their story. Aristocrat hat. This looks very silly. I will show it now. Behold. Unfortunately, it's so dirty and unkempt because, you know, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, so forth and so on. That it doesn't look particularly good with anything. But, you know, it's there. It's there. What was it? Oh, yeah. Leather hat decorated with a withered feather. I tried to rotate the camera to see the feather. It's funny. Travel attire worn by nobles in the capital, and the belonging of a family which claims a knight as an ancestor. Okay, so apparently you would think that that would be an ancestral thing, like you would keep having knights in the same family, but I guess you can just be a knight, then your ancestors will all be nobles as a result. That sounds about right, sort of. Abandoning their birthplace at a shattering, blah, 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 blah. An old aristocrat cowl, which to me looks more like a cook's hat, if anything. Cowl made of soft cloth. Same thing. Abandoning... Blah, 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 blah. Garb favored by the aged. It's funny that this is called the old aristocrat cowl. At first I thought that it meant that the clothing itself was even older than normal, but no, I guess just... How can they be old? Like, if the shattering happened... Again, I don't know when the shattering happened. It could have been a billion years ago. It could have been 2 years ago. The game doesn't say. And in fact, even the game's opening seems to conflict with the order of events. I don't think they did a good job of that. It really needs to be more clear, because a lot of things in this game just don't make sense as a result. Anyways. I guess some of the nobles were old at the time that the shattering happened. And when they left, they're like, you're the old aristocrats now. You'll be old forever. Even though we're also 1 trillion years old, we're the young ones. We're the young aristocrats. Oh, I hate being old forever. And even though all of them look like they are 1 trillion years old, these are the old ones. Good for them, you know? It's good to have an identity even in undeath. Good for them, good for them. Same dealio with aristocrat garb. This is the altered aristocrat garb. I don't think it has a different items. No, it's the same thing, okay? Yeah, it's funny. Terribly faded and tattered, so nothing going on there. The aristocrat coat, which actually does not look too bad. Tan leather coat adorned fine embroidery. Guys, same thing, yeah. An old aristocrat gown. Same thing. And guardian. No, that's the guardian guard. Okay. Yes, sorry. Want to make sure all that was done. And these other things will not have anything unique. Bandit boots. Where are they? There it is. Aristocrat boots. Oddly enough, and old aristocrat shoes. Strangely enough, none of them drop any shoes except for 2 of them, even though there's like 5 different aristocrat classes. Boots made from tan leather. Same thing. Hard-wearing shoes made of leather. If you put these on, you also lose your pants. Which is kind of funny. Behold! So you can see my milky thighs as a result. So if you want to be a pervert and still wear something in that slot, here you go. That's how you do it. Pretty neat, huh? Alright, what a good part this has been, me rambling about old people clothes. Oh, this is a low point. This is a low point. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there. He said as he went right back to what he was doing. Here we go. Noble slendered sword. A narrow blade carried by wandering nobles, made to be easy to wield. Daubed with gold from tip to tail, it should fetch a good sum. So, this is... I think that both of the weapon drops that you get from the aristocrats are actually really good dex weapons. If you're wanting to actually use a one-handed short sword, which, you know, why would you in a game like this? But I guess some people do for some reason. I mean, it has short range, it's fairly slow, at least compared to like a katana. I mean, they're probably about the same, but point being, it doesn't cause bleed, it doesn't deal more damage. So why exactly are you using a straight sword? Why would any... I don't understand... Like, I really don't understand the benefits of using a straight sword anymore. Even in Dark Souls 1, using a straight sword, you would do it for a while, but you get to the point where, in the later half of the game, so many of the enemies are just so gigantic that you run into that same problem. They just don't have a use anymore. You have to use a bigger weapon, or you have to, I guess the logic is that you get to use a great shield or something? I really don't know. I really can't put it together. The Noble Zestock. I actually really liked the look of this weapon. It looks pretty neat. But unfortunately, if a sword actually looks somewhat interesting, then it is not allowed to be good. It has to be stupid looking. Like, it has to have a bunch of chains or other swords attached to it, then it's allowed to be good. But Nobles as stock carried by wandering nobles, made to be easy to wield. Double gold, tip tail, so even the game is like, yeah, just sell it. Fucking sell it. Looks pretty neat. Like, it's not the most amazing looking thing ever. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It could look better. It probably would really hurt to actually use. So, yeah, that's that. What the hell was I... The bad side of, having to keep all these weapons here, because I need to be able to reference them and go, oh yeah, I forgot that this weapon says something about the Albinaurics, or whatever, is it's really hard to find things. But I also have something to say about the Albinaurics, I thought. Yes, that's what it was. I got a shield from one of them. Oh god, there's actually quite a few things to talk about. Tall oval shield made of metal, carried by young Albinaurics. The ornamentation represents the primordial drop of dew from which they are said to have been created. I'm getting kind of tired of all this primordial talk, because it's so far, like, even... Like, in this setting, I don't know how far the past actually is. But it's so far in the past that they may as well just be, like, saying fairies that fell in love with the stars. Like, it means nothing. A primordial drop of dew supposedly created the Albinaurics. I think in another item description it actually says, no, they're man-made. They're very clearly man-made. So, where exactly this... I guess that's the whole idea, is that they're young and stupid, so they believe dumb bullshit that the adults tell them. We were made from a drop of dew and sprang up like the little angels we are. Wow! I'm gonna make a shield about that. Dumbass, he doesn't know we're actually shit yet. We're dumb frog things. Yeah. They were created by a drop of dew, sure they were. Most exceptional magic damage negation. The Albinaurics' most formidable foes were sorcerers, after all. I kind of like this, because, like, the cat can't see shit, this fucking horrible fog. But the academy is, like, right over here, right? And you can see the Albinaurics are just wandering all around the place around here. Like, they're in a big ring around this area. So I like the idea that the sorcerers are always looking outside of their windows on rainy days, just storm going on in the background, straight-faced, Those fucking Albinaurics are out there again. And they look out, and there's those stupid little frog things just doing cartwheels out in the storm. Like, fuck those things. And then they get their staff, and they just start, like, picking them off. And the Albinaurics scatter, like, their most... their most formidable foe, is what it said. Yeah, their most formidable foe. I would imagine so. I would think that if I was a sorcerer in the academy and I saw those horrible, stupid, stinking, dumb things just doing cartwheels outside, I would probably be killing them anytime that I saw them too. Just to get rid of them. Like, you don't even hate them, you're just like, ugh, those things, rats. Anyways, okay. That is done. They drop a couple other things. Yes, that is true. They drop many things. Ruffle Crescent Halberd. Again, wielded by young Albinaurics. The blade is said to resemble a partial image of a ripple, and its attack skill, power scales with one's arcane attributes. Apparently the AR in this thing is absolutely abysmal. Even if you have high arcane. But you can buff it. So it's one of these weapons... Even though you can buff it even though it has a native arcane scaling. So it's one of these weapons where FromSoft expects you to just walk around buffing it constantly, which is a really bad way. Like, you have to deal with the same disadvantages that any other melee build uses. It's not like this weapon is that amazing. Like, its moveset is the same goddamn thing as everything else. But you're also expected to waste FP constantly on a buff that only stays active like a little bit of time. It's another one of those things that I don't agree with, that I wish they would stop doing. Like, if you're going to make something like this, then just have it have, like, an intrinsic buff in some way. Like, you know what they could do? I don't want it to be weapon art. Like, you could have it be, like, if you land 2 R2s within a certain amount of time, then it buffs itself or something. Or if you repose someone, then it buffs itself, or... There could be all sorts of different circumstances that you could give different weapons to make them do different things. And that itself could also be like a sub-weapon art that you can equip to different things. You can do so many things with weapons. They don't... I feel like I'm talking to a wall. It doesn't matter. Also, it seemed like they dropped something else. What was it? I wrote down so many notes. No. It's their stupid chainmail. That's what it was. Because the game actually has like some funny comment to make about it. Chainmail worn by young Albinaurics. So again, the frog ones are like young versions of them. The appearance of a protruding belly provides no benefits worthy of note. So even the game is like, okay, it makes you look like a fat, stupid toad man. There's not really a benefit to that, but if you want to be fat, then here you go. It's not even that it makes you fat, it just makes you look like you're fat. So even the game's like, well, alright, if you want to. We made one for you. I don't know why we made it, but here you go. And also, they do drop, probably the most important thing that they drop. Let's see if I can find it. Is there stupid blood clot? I don't have many of them, though. Here it is. Albinauric blood clot. The thick, coagulated blood of the Albinaurics. It's thick. It's fucking thick. Kind of gross. Why is it coagulating? I wonder if blood... I think it does. I think blood does coagulate when it's exposed to air. It's been a while since I've thought about it. So I guess that does make sense. Because blood, after a while, does... Of course it dries, but it also like forms into tighter clumps, I think. I might be bullshitting on that, though. It's worth looking up. But I can't think of any other reason why it would be coagulated, other than you cut their arm and then you just let it sit there for a while. There are a lot of forms made by human hands. So yeah. This side of the description is like, yeah, that Drudop bullshit, no one fucking believes it. That's goddamn stupid. No, people just tried to make something. Thus many believe them to be impure lives, untouched by the Erdtree's grace. So again, we have humans, through incredibly vague means, trying to do something, and then they made the Albinaurics. Some people have been saying in the comments something about the ones that are frogs are like second generation, but I don't know what they're talking about. They may be like involuntarily spoiling something that I'm not aware of. But the only information we have so far is that they are man-made in some way, and these are younger. Whether they mean that they are children of the Albinaurics that are back at that village, I don't know. Again, was an omen killer there. I don't know why, because supposedly the village was wiped out by Ofnir, maybe. So what exactly an omen killer was doing there, I don't know. Was he serving him? I don't know. Was he the one burning the bodies? Does that mean Albinaurics are omens? I need answers, video game. Elden Ring, you really need to start actually giving me concrete answers to things. I really need those corner pieces, because I can't continue to speculate on nothing. Such vague details. Okay, that's that. Oh, and someone mentioned that Latina, Wolf Lady, whose ashes I now have, if you kill her, she says, are all you tarnished the same? So presumably the person that she was fighting before was in fact also a tarnished, which would align with my idea that it was probably what's his first name? Gideon? I can't remember. Gideon Alfnir, I think his name is. I need to write it down because I can't remember it. Eventually I'm going to start saying his fake name so much that I forget that it exists. Okay. That is complete. Also this... Oh yeah, I never actually marked him. I could go kill... Let me just go kill the death bird down here, just to have it done. I think I'll go murder all these idiots that are just wandering around. Pelt them with spears as well, just to get them out of the way. And I think after that I'll probably just make this a shorter episode and then release a better episode right after this. Because I don't want the first part of this... I don't want the first part of a 4-hour-long episode to be me just bitching at one enemy. Like, what a waste of time that would be. Okay. Well, let's see for boys over here. He kind of just appears, too. I wonder if it's, like, down here. Where's it come from? Oh, it's just in the air. I think the last one I killed by just pelting it from afar. Yeah, it was in the last part. Actually, I don't really care for this. Makes a horrible little noise, too. It has like a baby head. Wow, that does a lot of damage. Giant, you better not be... What the... Oh, it's one of those rams, I forgot. Yeah, the sheep over here are very aggressive. Really? The sheep are very aggressive, so if... If you see them, they'll come running. Get out of my territory! Sir, I'm in the middle of a boss fight. Ugh. Stretches its horrible little neck, too. What are these things? Shield, please work. Like, I'm desperately trying to use you. Wow, truly amazing. What a good boss fight. Especially whenever you're... God, I hate how enemy attacks just go around your shield sometimes. Ram, not now. Haha. That's one good thing about this. Like, look at this. Like, your attacks kind of don't... Like, his don't hit either. Enemies like this, it feels like they designed the enemy on paper. It feels like they designed the enemy on paper, like the concept artist drew it up, and they gave it a moveset. And then after the fact they realized, wow, this thing doesn't work very well. Because most of its attacks, like, go over your head and hit in an area that, like, you're nowhere near. Or maybe they designed it for horse battles, so that's the reason why it stretches out so much. to try to encourage you to get off, but even then it's incredibly awkward because you lock onto the middle of its body. And because its body curves up, you're like trying to hit up, and you're hitting like air sometimes. Elden Ring is not a perfect game. I'll say that. Elden Ring has a lot of strange issues that it should not have. So, attack power, defense when it's low. Okay. Talisman is armed with blue feathers when she uses ancient death rituals. So, maybe the Omen Bird or whatever it's called. What was the thing called? Maybe it was called the Omen Bird. Hold on. Let me check. No, it's like Death Bird or something. Actually, no, I know a better way of looking this up. Where's my bosses? There we go. Deathbird. Yeah, they're just called Deathbirds. I was about to say if they were called like Omen Birds, and that would be a little bit more information. But no, they're naughty birds. The heart sings when one draws close to death, and thus does one cling so tenaciously to life to render up a death worth offering. Great. So another item description that doesn't really mean much of anything. Maybe one day it'll mean something more. Kind of doubting it. This has really been the part where I'm just frustrated with Elden Ring. Nothing's really even happened either. It's just Elden Ring just being itself, and me being very slightly disappointed in its behavior. Get rid of you. What else was going on? Oh, yeah. Oh, the Crucible Knight. I don't want to have to deal with that right now. Also, there's this dipshit. I've never actually killed the dragon. I've never even attempted to fight this dragon before. Outside of co-op. In co-op, I, like, rode up to it, or we walked up to it. And then the dragon, like, woke up and spun around, and everyone died. And that was it. That was the entire encounter. Which is definitely another Elden Ring style encounter. Come back later when you're 400 billion levels over-leveled. Sure, alright. That sounds fun. So then the exact same unfair things will happen? Yeah, but this time you won't die in one hit. Oh, cool. Which will force you to use all your healing items. That way, by the end, once you have 0 healing items, it will artificially feel as though you've accomplished something, even though nothing about the encounter was actually satisfying. Cool. Cool, Elden Ring. It's real cool. Appreciate that. Now, I will point out that these birds always seem to hang around ruins. So maybe they came down from the sky in a bubble dog. Maybe they did. Actually, it may not even be daytime. No, it should be. Yeah, okay, here we go. There he is. They kind of just fall out of the sky. Let me drink this. Motherfucker. Why do you... Not a big fan of it, just... Okay, what the fuck is that shit? It just screams and takes all my fucking health as I'm raising my goddamn shield? I win! Oh wow, you really outplayed me, didn't you? You just stood there and went, What a legend. This thing probably doesn't even bleed. What an awkward fight. Jesus, camera. Fucking stop that, you dumb fucking spoiled baby. God damn, you look stupid. Look like a fucking infant's head. Getting annoyed again. What do you have a tail? You have like a horse tail. Why does it go over the fucking shield? Why am I even bothering raising it? Just two-hand. Two-hand! Two-hand, right now, there you go. Fucking controller. God damn, I hate being annoyed. Play games to relax, not to be irritated. And I like to make videos of people being relaxed. I don't like making videos of people being irritated at me either. So another case of an open world boss just being kind of shitty. Sacrificial axe. This is an actual axe, or is it another talisman? I need to learn the icons of those. That looks like it changed. Yeah, it did. Okay. Hatchet used in ancient sacrificial rite. A deaf bird is depicted as a malevolent deity. I guess it is. Although that's not actually what it looks like. That looks more like... I don't know what that looks like. Kind of looks like a dodo or something. The power of the right yet lingers. A small amount of FP is restored upon slaying a foe. Oh, alright. That'll be mildly useful. Because I've had no way of actually restoring FP. I will... it better not be scaling with int or something. Okay. Yes, and it has wild strike, so it has a completely worthless... Alright, good. I can probably use this then. I can upgrade this. Yeah, restores FP. It's probably a very... It's probably such a small amount that you would need to kill like 30 enemies just to be able to use a single lightning spear, though. That's usually how they balance these things. Which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay. Well, that idiot is gone, and I think that completely clears everything here. Yes, alright. So that's done. Should I try to kill this idiot? Oh, I'll give it a whirl. He actually does drop a faith weapon, but it's a strength faith weapon, so I don't really have any use for it. Because it actually requires a fairly obscene amount of strength. But I guess I can do that. Let's see. What should I use? Not you. You will die. I never upgraded all the rest of these things. Probably something that has range to it. Something that has range but isn't locked in place. Oh, Fanged Ant. These Fiend Imps. Fiend Amps. Yeah, Fiend Amps. Are very good for that, because they move in and out. And they're like the one thing that actually does that. The only other thing that I have would be the Godric Soldier stuff. Yeah, I'll use my old standby. We'll do that. And what to use as a weapon? I think I'll use my tree spear, actually. Because it's long and it's strong. It's down to get the friction on. Let's try to get all the things that I'll get angry at out of the way for the time being. Boy, I bet it's not going to look good for the future, though. Like, as soon as I get up to the Atlas area and start dealing with all the stuff there, especially, like, post-capital, I've never seen anything beyond that. But just by virtue of this being Elden Ring, I'm probably going to encounter a lot of things that I don't like. Please bear with me, people in my comment section. I don't want me to be angry any more than you do. Ah yes, I forgot. I forgot that he is also a special little treasure. I'm not particularly fond of the Tree Sentinel, but his attacks are fairly slow. Unfortunately, that hip check, that horse hip check that he does, I don't like that. Not a big fan of that. Wish he would stand still, though. I need to get him, like, up against a rock. He did not hit me. That's bullshit. That move right there, that's probably his least fair move. Alright. No, move. God. Because especially in, like, co-op, sometimes the camera will kind of wig out, and you can't actually see him using it. Good job, guys. I tell you what, all these encounters, are you just not gonna... He's taking his time. Sorry, I had to take a dump. A little spectral dump, like, falls out. Don't leave it, and then it vanishes too. Okay, Golden Halberd. A lot of these encounters that I'm like, oh, this is miserable. A lot of the bosses are like that. Like, I would say most of the bosses, if you're doing just a 1v1, are insufferable. and they're just not fun at all. But if you have a summon, like someone else with you, or if you have those little, the PvE summons, then it becomes much more tolerable. Because then, it's just the way these games are getting designed. Because their movesets are like just straight up unfair in various ways. Not always. Not like 100% of their moves are unfair or anything. But they are designed to be unfair if you're going 1v1. Unless, of course, I'm sure that you're some sort of input god that has completely memorized every element of their moveset. And you get around that by just distracting them. And then once they're distracted, you run up and wail on their butt and then run away. And it's not exactly the most satisfying way to play, but it sort of works in a lateral way. Like, the summon system really just feels like a band-aid to a lot of problems that they've been having with the games over time. Because, as I've mentioned before, the games have become much more of like party games for Japanese players specifically, where they always co-op all the time. And in Elden Ring, they've taken steps... I'm trying to get away from these screaming men. They've tried to take steps of mitigating that by, one, making it so that you don't really co-op in the open world. And most of the co-op is just done in catacombs, which is not very fun. So your opportunities to actually do any co-op in the first place are kind of more restricted. And even in boss battles, the summons are there to band-aid not only the summon system, the cooperative system, but also to band-aid the fact that modern bosses are getting that much more kind of ridiculous. Where they have lots of moves that are not unavoidable, but are kind of unreasonable, I guess is the better word. And since their movesets are unreasonable because they're trying to make them really impressive and really memorable for that reason, they're trying to leverage that by also including the summon band-aid system to try to mitigate it for people that don't want to engage with it. Oh, it is such a far cry from Dark Souls 1. Like, enemies in Dark Souls, especially bosses, usually, not always, are just so goddamn slow. Like, I think of Gaping Dragon. You get in there, Gaping Dragon does not open the fight by jumping across the arena and landing in a giant AoE that takes up the entire length of the screen. It doesn't, like, spin in a circle and hit everything around it. It doesn't have a gigantic fire attack that hits the entire arena. It does have a sort of vomit attack that breaks your equipment, maybe. But it moves out so slowly, and you can just walk away from it. And even its attacks, most of the time, it's just like, you go to its side, like as long as you don't stand directly in front of it, you're more or less okay. And it kind of just runs forward, and that's its attack, and that's all it does. It's, like, as soon as you understand what it's about, it's incredibly easy. That's what I think about when I think about Dark Souls 1. It's just... Dark Souls 1 is actually a very, very easy game for the most part. Like, it's absurdly easy once you even have a very basic understanding of the movesets of all the enemies. Now, of course, there's several exceptions, of course, like Bed of Chaos, obviously. All the DLC, where they started getting a little bit more action-oriented, to the point that heavy weapons don't really work on some enemies. And even in the base content, like Nito, for example, the Nito boss fight, you can just, like, face-fuck him and out-DPS him, but dealing with all the skeletons can be a bit of an issue. So, stuff like that, yeah. There are exceptions. But for the most part, that's what I think of whenever I think of Dark Souls 1. It's just how slow and plodding methodical everything is. So the more that you crank things up, the more that you have to band-aid them. Anyways, Golden Halberd, Weighty Halberd, Forged of Gold, wielded by an Order of Tree Sentinels, heavily equipped knights. So I guess there's going to be more of these horrible things. Order of Tree Sentinels. deals solid damage. A masterfully crafted weapon that lives up to its heft, but is difficult for one of mere human strength to wield. What was the name of... No, that is Guardians. So there are tree sentinels and there are tree guardians. There's such an Elden Ring problem. It's so minor, but just... There don't need to be things that guard trees, but one of them is called a sentinel and the other one's called a guardian. And the guardians are like weird little plant men that are said to have been renewed after their death to protect the Erd tree as guardians. And then there's another one where they're like, we ride horses and we wear armor and we're huge. We're also protectors of trees, I guess. Maybe it's not the Erd tree, maybe it's... Yeah, it just says tree sentinels. It doesn't actually say that they protected the Erd tree, even though they deal holy damage, so you would think that they would be associated with the Erd tree. I guess they could be protecting the Great Tree, is that what it's called? Or the Halig tree, there's another tree now. Elden Ring, you just do too many things, and there's not enough connective tissue right now, it's just nonsense. Should I do this too? I'm already angry. Well, not really angry right now, I just like to say that I'm angry. Oh, I guess I can. I am using this tree spear right now. This guy will highlight a lot of my problems with the general way that Elden Ring designs some of its encounters. This is a good example. This will be a good example of this. Because this is a Crucible Knight. I'm sure that some of you are excited for me to go fight this thing already. God, I would love to just see... If I had a gravity spell that just... Oh, you want to fight, huh? Didn't work out so great. If I just had like one gravity spell that would just suck in all these things at once. God, that would be amazing. Okay. No, you go away. And here we have a stake, which is very, Mirka statue, very intentionally placed, because you're going to be here a while. I'll give this like 2 or 3 attempts. If I beat him, I'll end here. If I don't, then I'll end here. That's how it's going to be. And there's lots of bloodstains. There's lots of bloodstains for a very good reason. This is another enemy that is just not particularly fair in a lot of ways. This is not going to be fun for me, but I am using a spear. So if I can kill him, it's going to be very arduous and not particularly enjoyable. Ugh. There are 2 ways that you can beat this guy. You can parry him, which is, in my experience, very unreliable, and it doesn't really do all that much damage, but you can. Like, it's there. You can do it. Or you can outrange him. And usually I do this by poking him, so maybe this spear will have just enough range to get that done. Crucible Knight. So he has a shield, so you can't really get through that. So this is what you have to do. Poke. Whoop. Ran in, didn't expect that one. Whoop. I forgot this one has a sweep. Whoop. Roll too soon. Poke. Poke. Whoop. He does that a little bit slower than I thought. Here we go. Phase 2. Sort of. Now he has one bitch move in his second phase. That. Oh, he didn't do the second one. He'll do it later, probably. Need to use mine. Yeah, of course he immediately gets used up. Motherfucker. I think you can also like getting stuck on the rock. And there's not much you can do about it. Nah. Oh, I forgot he does that. Yeah, he's got the... It's a cool looking move. I like any time that weapon like rakes up against the ground. God. There he goes. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. I got stuck in the first hit though, so I can get out of it. You can hit him from range, but it's not reliable. Wish I could get away from these rocks and trees, though. Go away. I guess he gets iframes on that. He kind of stops using his shield, too, which is funny. Ah! I held it too long. I was trying to be cool. Now I'm cool. There we go, cool. One try. So that's a combination of being over-leveled and also having experience with this guy. Yeah, if you just try to, like, roll around him or something, he just auto-tracks into you and hits you. You obviously can't get through a shield, so you have to wait for him to attack. So it's just a matter of, like, roll, get in a tiny little hit, roll, get in a little tiny little hit. If you're using a fast weapon. If you're using... This is the problem that I had. The first time I encountered that guy, I was using Freelid, my strength-based character, who I have not used in quite some time, actually. And because she's using a giant heavy weapon, it's too slow to get in hits without her taking damage. It doesn't deal enough poise damage to actually ever break his damage. Also, she's two-handing, so she can't really use a shield, so she can't really parry. And I would have to, like, parry him and then go into two-handing to be able to land a riposte, and usually it's too slow. Just lots of little minor issues like that. So yeah, just another one of those enemies that's just not particularly great. There's a lot of enemies like that in Elden Ring. And the solution to most of those problems is to play like a bitch and summon in help most of the time, unfortunately. I actually have a couple more things that I picked up that I need to talk about before I head out. I got the Spiral Horn Shield, which is near... I shouldn't really have gotten it yet, but I was kind of annoyed by the... Right here. I was annoyed by the little horny guys that are around here, so I was just like, I'm just going to pick this up so I don't have to deal with them again. But you, like, just go up here, and it's right there. And it was sitting on a corpse that was, like, hanging off of a cliff. It's just some guy that was just dead. Presumably killed by them. But it is... Spiral Horn Shield... Small shield of antlers. Because, of course, we're one with nature. We make everything with antlers. We're so precious. Arranged in an eddy-like pattern. Why can't I speak today? If used to attack a foe, the shield's antlers inflict blood loss. They look more like they would just break, but whatever. Once given to a tarnished warrior who cultivated close ties to the ancestral followers. Though the effect is only slightly boosts immunity, robustness, and focus. So, this was made by the ancestral followers, who are the weird, gigantic hippies that have sex with deer. And they gave this to some tarnished who was like, I also like to fuck deer. And they're like, whoa, another weirdo? Another pervert? We're also fleeing from the police. And then they're like, here's a shield made of antlers. Like, thanks, guys. Great. I love it. I'll put it with the rest. And then he, like, opens the trunk, and there's like 50 things made of antlers in there. Tosses it in, and it shatters instantly because it's made of antlers. Yep. That's the story of that. Absolutely fantastic. Also, Eclipse Great Shield. This is probably something I'm going to do in the next part, okay? But Metal Great Shield painted with a sun and eclipse. Oh boy! An eclipse sun! Boy, do I never get tired of seeing that in a FromSoft game. My favorite thing. Symbology with the sun and it being eclipsed in various ways. They're fantastic. I'm sure that it carries very significant significance for the significant viewer. The eclipsed sun, drained of color, is the protective star of soulless demigods. Right. How many soulless demigods are there again? I thought there was just one, but apparently there's like tons of them now. Maybe that's how they killed all. No. Maybe that's how they killed all of them. Even though I think it was just the first one. It's like, oh, he died. His soul died, but his body didn't die. Maybe all of them were like that. Because that's the only way of killing them. So maybe it's all of them. I don't know. It aids the Mausoleum Knights by keeping destined death at bay. Okay, if you say so. So, if you want to keep away death, you carry around a picture of a little circle. Because it looks sort of like the sun, but it's being eclipsed by something. Which I would assume would be the moon. But the moon in this universe is absolutely enormous. So who knows. But I got like 6 of these. This is also the thing that made me realize that whenever you get a rare drop in this game from an enemy, like just a basic enemy, then it will play the same sound that you get whenever you like kill a boss and it drops something. Which I thought was interesting. So even the game sometimes is like, you shouldn't be getting this. Now I say that, but I got 6 of these, and I sold 4 of them. Specifically, because I was having to farm this guy, who is this up here, which I will actually have to go up here and do this probably the next episode, the Black Knife Catacombs. Up we go. So I would spawn here, run over here with my tree spear. I'll show it like I did that other time. Show how cool I am. Backstab him. Do the same thing, charge R2. Hit him. There we go. He's dead. Yeah, he's a Mausoleum Knight. There, I love the. This good pose he fell in. Never gets old. But there's another one of these guys, and they are wandering around this area. I can't remember what this is, but he's. What is that? Oh wait. Yeah. This is me saying that I needed to get his shield. That's what it was. But they're wandering around this area. They're wandering around a wandering mausoleum. But there's only one of them. But there are probably like a good 20 or something of the ordinary knights. Not the knights, but the soldiers that are wandering around here as well. Way more than any I've seen anywhere else. But this is by far the easiest one to farm. He did not want to drop his gloves. For some reason, every single time that I've ever had to farm any group for their complete set, it is always the gloves, or if the set does not have gloves, it's the boots. 100% of the time. That is always the problem child. They'll give you the chest, they'll give you the head. They'll give head, but they absolutely do not want to give you the gloves and the boots for some reason. Some games have desire sensors, not many, and I've never understood the point of them. Like, the developers are like, we need to stop people from farming things. They need to go do other things. Let's include the desire sensor so that if we see them repeatedly killing the same enemy over and over and over again, then we'll just turn off its ability to give drops. We won't actually tell them that we did this. We'll just do it so that eventually they're like, we're tired of this, and then they'll just leave. 1, what the player is doing with their time is none of your fucking business. 2, if you want to resolve that problem, when the player is farming an enemy 50 times to get a drop, give them the drop! That's the solution. Like, instead of being a dumb cuck and trying your best to be an annoying little dick nugget, which I love dick nugget lately, it's fun, because it barely means anything. Just give them the drop. Let them have the thing that they want. What are you afraid of? Oh no, they'll get the gloves! So, give it to them. How about this? Instead of making it farmable, just put it on a fucking corpse like it was in Dark Souls 1. That worked pretty damn good. There are only like 2 enemies in the whole game that you had to farm to actually get their drops. Like the bandit set is one I can think of. I can't really even... Like the hollows, I guess? Like there's almost nothing in that game that you had to farm to get their clothing. Most of the time it was just on a corpse somewhere, and you just went and got it, and then you were done. It's because they're so obsessed with the idea that everything needs to have a purpose, so everything needs to be farmable in some way. Anyways... Yeah, I did the Mausoleum thing. Which one was it? Where was his gear? Oh, they don't have helmets, of course, because they don't have heads. But here's the Mausoleum Knight armor. Of course, you can alter it as well. Take the cape off. Armor worn by headless knights who endlessly guard the wandering mausoleum. The wing-shaped ornaments on its back evoke the Death Bird. Oh, so they're associated with the Death Bird. I really don't... I hate piecing these things together. It's not fun, because there's just so little to go off of. A self-inflicted curse that ties the spirits of these loyal knights to the land, having willingly beheaded themselves. Wow, that must have been awkward, just from a logistics point of view. Maybe they should say that they allowed themselves to be beheaded, because saying they beheaded themselves, like, wow, there's some reach you got there. So that they may serve their masters in death. So the stupid wings on the back, I guess I'll show this. The incredibly stupid looking wings on the back, they're not even they're just... Look how stupid this is. It's literally just like... Let me go... I want to bitch about how stupid looking this is. Look at this. They just bolted on like an iron bar to the back. Then like another iron bar. And then they... Like, the amount of feathers in this is so shitty. Find some more feathers. Or maybe, I guess it's just over time they lost most of their feathers. Well, find more. Take care of yourself. Looks like shit. Anyways, it's supposed to evoke the Death Bird, even though it can literally evoke any bird ever. Because it's just a couple of shitty-looking iron bars that have a bunch of thinning feathers sticking out of it. Anyways. So that's supposed to evoke the Death Bird. Because the Death Bird... Why would you want to evoke the Death Bird if the description about the Death Bird was like, yeah, people hated this thing. It's a symbol of evil and malevolence, or whatever. So, whenever the demigods were killed by killing their souls, or whatever goes on there, I still don't know. The knights that followed them, I suppose, were like, well, we need to protect them. We should, behead ourselves. Because that's how you stave off death, I guess. You, look at the sun when there's an eclipse. Which, by the way, have you ever seen the sun in this game? I mean, there's light, but it comes from the Erd Tree. I don't think I've ever actually seen the sun. I've seen the moon, and the moon is massive. So, the moon is so big. It's so big. Can you imagine how big the sun must be for there to be like a corona around it, so you can actually have a traditional eclipse? Like, sure, you can have a giant moon eclipse the sun if the sun is the size it is on our planet. It just moves in front of it wherever, and it's like, oh, whoops, another eclipse. It's the 5th one this year. Because our moon is the size of Jupiter. But, maybe that has something... Maybe something happened to the sun as well, considering that this universe has some weird fixation on space and how things ain't what they used to be, and so forth and so on. I don't know. Anyways, okay, yes, that is it. That is it as far as the item description stuff go. Thank God. But doing the black assassin stuff down here is probably the next thing that I'll probably start with, unless something else happens. I need to actually go upgrade that other stuff as well. By the way, I'm level 90 now. Whoa, you actually struggle against it. It's so shit. Yeah, what are you gonna do? But tying into my earlier thing about general fairness in the games and the ways that the games have evolved, I've talked about it before. But something that I wrote down in my notes, and something that I was going to talk about, maybe I'll talk about it next time, is I wrote down the general issue with unfair enemies is the sense of empowerment in these games. Like, personally, I play these games because I like the idea of feeling like I'm growing stronger, like I'm getting more powerful. I like being able to see an enemy that used to give me trouble, and I just run up and I just smush it. One hit, just boom, he's gone. Or I gain some new weapons or whatever, and it allows me to just face fuck the enemy. Yeah, it feels good to be able to squash something that used to be a minor issue. Although also the games I would like to be fair, so I shouldn't have to come across an enemy that used to give me tons of trouble, because why would they give you tons of trouble if they're fair? It's one of the reasons why people have always complained about dogs in every single one of the games, is because they're unfair enemies. You can kill them without taking any damage, but they're just a massive nuisance, because they, as mentioned, like to orbit your character. They can dodge out of things whenever they want to. Sometimes you'll hit them, but they're in the middle of some sort of bizarre iframe, and you're just not allowed to, and just... They've always been shitty enemies. That's the reason why people have always complained about them. Although in modern times they almost feel trivial, in the sense that so many enemies are like that now that it just doesn't matter. It also wrote down, your character feels weak and conniving instead of powerful. That's how I would describe you in most of the games. In Dark Souls 1, by the time you get to Gwyn, like, the whole point is that, sure, you're able to kill Gwyn, but Gwyn was pathetic at that point. He used to be like a monster, supposedly. And all the things that you fight supposedly used to be stronger in some way, or used to be more impressive. The logic of that doesn't really make a lot of sense with Nito, since Nito presumably would have stayed the same the whole time, but whatever. But Gwyn specifically, like, he's... If you don't parry him, then he's still kind of a minor problem. But you can deal with him pretty easily. Because again, that's supposed to be the point. So, you defeat Dark Souls 1, and you don't really feel like you have gotten so strong that you are now the Dark Lord, or the person worthy to inherit the will of Gwyn. You kind of feel shitty. Like, you still feel like a weakling in a lot of ways, especially when none of your attacks from the start of the game up until now have really improved. If someone took away your sword, your plus 15 or whatever sword, whatever your upgrade is in whatever game it is, you would still be hitting things for like 2 damage. You're a weakling. You're pathetic. You're absolutely pathetic. Take away your talisman, what do you got? Nothing. You got nothing. You got like a little bit of extra health and you can roll more. That's it. And it's gotten especially bad in these modern games where you'll become the Dark Lord, or you'll become the Elden Lord. But you just feel like an insignificant little ant that solves every problem by riding on a horse, running away from something, and pelting it with spears from afar, because it's the one thing that you can do that doesn't require you to actually have to fight the thing, like, honorably, like 1 versus 1. Because you will never be a boss. You will never be the ball-bearing hunter that can swing his sword in such a way that it covers a kilometer around your body. You'll never be Gwyn and do like an amazing like uppercut slash combo that allows you to go into this like Trunks from DBZ cutting up Frieza style sword maneuver that cuts someone like 10 times and takes away almost all their health. You'll never do any of those things. You're just a loser. You're a pathetic loser that solves every problem by, like, crafting items, crafting your little bombs and your little arrows and playing like a pathetic little bitch that has to summon in help and hide in a corner and go. And whenever you fight Radon or Exodia or whatever the fuck you're fighting, then you, like, if you get hit one time, you almost die. If you get hit once, you're dead almost. In some cases, you do die. Like, you walk up to fucking Jiren, like, I'll take care of Jiren, guys. You die in one hit. And your entire goal in all the fights is to just try your best to not ever, 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 ever sustain any damage at all. It's sort of like the logic of how in Zelda, people have sometimes wondered, well, what's Link's power? Like, what's the power of the Triforce of Courage? Because the Triforce of Power, obviously, like, it allows you to be powerful. It can allow you to even survive what would normally kill you. Like, you're just obscenely powerful as, like, an individual. And that seems to be Ganon's whole thing. That he's just crazy strong. And Zelda's like, she has the Triforce of Wisdom, so presumably it has something to do with the wisdom. It allows her to... I don't know if it's because she's, like, inheriting the spirit of Hylia or whatever. But, you know, light arrows, light-themed powers. She can banish evil. She has, like, innate magic. But what does Link do? And because Link's, all of his stuff is, he has like a hookshot, he has bombs, he has the Master Sword, which is not him. Like, all of his stuff is external devices that he has to use to try to win. And some people have postulated that maybe he can revive, like he's immortal. Like, as soon as you kill him and he has the Triforce of Courage, as long as the gods will it, he'll just come back. Although later on, like Twilight Princess, for example, he has a corpse that had unfinished business, so maybe that's not true at all. But it kind of follows that same logic in these games. Just, your little shitheel, you're no good at anything except for playing like a pathetic loser. And just throwing bombs from afar, throwing your little lightning spear that deals 1/50th the health bar of the thing you're trying to fight. And if it ever catches you, ever... if it even, like, sneezes near you, you'll probably break a leg and fall down crying. Because you're just no good at anything. It's just funny how it works. I'm not really complaining that you don't turn into a boss or anything like that. I'm just pointing out that that's just how the games are. And it's gotten that much worse as time has gone on. As I mentioned before, I prefer it. I prefer it if, instead of having, like, for example, now I have 6... Flask of Crimson Tears, and I have 2 Flasks of Cerulean Tears. I also have this other Flask of Wondrous Physics. I would prefer it if I had, like, 2. I can't replenish my magic using a flask. I would definitely appreciate that. I would prefer it if FP just regenerated over time, and you get more of it whenever you killed an enemy. And you got more of it whenever you did, like, a critical hit or something. And this is how it worked. So that it's you get more FP by just doing various things via combat. And even just sort of hanging out. And we get rid of Flask of Cerulean Tears forever. And Flask of Crimson Tears, you shave the number of those that you get down by like 75-80%, somewhere around that range. And you just give the player way more armor or way more health, however you want to interpret it. Like right now, I have 1,355 health, sure. But whenever I take damage from most enemies, I'm taking anywhere from like 200 up to almost 1,000 sometimes, depending on what the enemy is. It should be more like you take 20 to 200 or so. Like, this is a very, very small amount comparatively. But anyways, you get the idea. This is my general issue with a lot of the way that the games have evolved. Hopefully I didn't annoy anyone too much with my incessant bitching about the Bill Baron guy. Oh yeah, I'm still in here. But I'll end it here-ish. I'm gonna go back and try to upgrade that one weapon. And in the next episode, it'll be me trying to cover all the little pickups and stuff, and just talk about stuff from that point forward. Woo! So let me upgrade this axe and just see what it looks like. with that silly Toucan Sam on it. Shut up. You say the same thing every time. It's never helpful. Just waste my time. Let's see. Not going to be using this, probably. Then again, it does require only 30 strength. I can use this two-handed. I'll upgrade it eventually. I'll do that too. Well, it requires somber, so that's not that big of a deal. Stop locking up. This is also a one-handed axe. I made the mistake of upgrading this, the Ice Rind Hatchet, because I knew that it was really good, and then I realized it's one of the ones that you can't change the ashes in it. Even though it says Hoarfrost Stomp, you can't take it out. But this one, however, I think you can. Smithing Stone 1. Gonna have to go buy 12 more of those. Smithing Stone 2. There we go. And Smithing Stone 3s are so absurdly rare that almost none of my weapons are upgraded past this, and I think the ones that I do have that are upgraded past this are the +8 ones that I found off of Invaders. Which is unfortunate. But that's how it goes in the Wild Wild West. Wiki wiki Wild Wild West. Alright, what does it look like? What do we got? That is one of the shortest weapons I've ever seen. Why did I even bother? Can you imagine me trying to fight the Deathbird with this thing? Like, sure, just switch out to another weapon, right? But holy shit. Like, it's a good thing that this is made for killing basic enemies and restoring your FP like that. Because I don't think something this small would be able to hit anything otherwise in these modern games. Anyways, we got more enemies up here to worry about. I forget what this is. I'll look that up. I forget what a lot of this stuff is, and I haven't tagged that yet. But the next thing that I do will probably be to clear this out, since this is related to a Rogier's quest line, so we need to finish that off as well. So we'll start here next time, I think. Unless something else comes up, as I said before. Alright, so say goodbye, you tiny little chode of an axe. So long, everyone. I'm puking out an axe. He really does look like that. I love how the death... Like, it has that ridiculous looking... That's not what it looks like at all. Like, the actual Deathbird is this weird baby skull. It's so strange. But it has, like, little wings coming out of the back of its own head. You know how, like, little kids draw airplanes? Where they draw the tube that looks sort of like a plane, but then they're like, well, it has wings, so here's one. And then the other one comes out the top. So it has, like, even though the side of the plane looks normal, it has wings that are coming out the top and the bottom. Because they don't really understand the concept of perspective yet. That's what it looks like to me. I actually have one of those. I have one of the drawings that I drew in preschool. It might be the first drawing that I ever did. And it has that. It has a drawing of, like, birds. Like, it's like me, I think, with a cat. Because, of course. Walking along a completely flat, like, two-dimensional grassy plain of some sort. And in the sky, there's, like, some birds and a plane that has, like, wings coming out the top and the bottom. So I'm just as guilty. I did it too. Alright, but anyways, if you want me to show it, no, I can't. Just because I don't know where it is, and I would have to scan it in or take a picture or something. Anyways, we'll worry about all the theoretical preschool images in the future. Okay, see you guys next time. Again, my apologies if I made anyone angry. It was not my intent. The only thing I ever get angry about is video games. And I get angry about video games a lot. Bye-bye. I need to stop laughing at the end of my outros, because I sound like a Souls NPC. So long, everyone. Ha 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 ha.